Okay. Way to grow.
Yeah. Everything works out the way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. Everything works out the way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. Everything works out.
It do.
The way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. Everything works out. The way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to. I don't wanna lose my life, you know. One life to live, but it's resistance.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Kareem, Manuel, the We Society. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I'm having the privilege, the honor today to be with some of my favorite men, some of my favorite artists. We got Christian Ahmed and Londrelle in the building. And the intention for today is just to have an intimate conversation, a real and authentic conversation. And you're invited in to join in this vulnerability, this truth, this love, this space. And we're going to get right into it. And before we do, if y'all would just join me in breathing. We're going to do box breathing for a couple minutes. And then we're just going to offer up some prayers and get right to it. So wherever you are, if you're in a safe space, you can close your eyes, feel the presence of your body in your seat, on your bed, on your floor, in your chair, feel your feet on the ground. And just feel yourself for a second, feel the air on your skin, relax your face, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. You're home. And on the count of 3, we're going to breathe in for 5 seconds, hold our breath at the top for 5, breathe out for 5 seconds, and hold at the bottom for 5. All right, 1, 2, 3, breath in. Hold. Out. And hold. Relax your face. In. Hold. Relax your shoulders. Out. And hold. Biggest breath you taking all day. In. Hold. Keep holding. And out. Blow it all out. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let it all go. And hold. Keep holding. And come back to your breath. Find a regular breath, a regular breathing pattern. Feel the peace. Feel the love. Feel yourself. The energy of this collective. And brothers, the space is open for us to offer some prayers and intentions for this conversation.
Well, God, I want to start and ask that you enter this space. I ask that you protect this space and fill this space in the most fluent way. God, I ask that you use us for your people. I ask that we communicate messages of construction, and I ask that you continue to use us to build your people, to bring out the greatest good in the world, God. I ask that you protect our interests. I ask that you use us to encourage peace, to bring people closer to prosperity, to oneness. God, I ask that you use us to grow closer to each other and to create a vulnerable enough space for others to see that there's true strength in the vulnerability that we share. So I ask that for fluency and skill in our communication. I ask for comprehension as we communicate with each other, God. And I ask that you continue to use us for something bigger than ourselves. And I thank you so much for choosing each one of us to be a part of this conversation. And I ask that it be a beautiful one. And I just thank you so much for the privilege of life, and to have this life experience. And day by day, I ask that you grow it to be more beautiful. And as we become more beautiful in our intentions, and as we become more pure as people, I ask that we truly continue to shine our light and express that forward. We love you so much, and we respect and honor you so much to be in these positions. And I just thank you so much for this conversation that we get to have with each other, and I ask that you continue to use us. We love you.
Deep breath.
Oh, Heavenly Father, we are just so grateful to serve your majesty, to honor your throne, to honor your kingdom, to honor your wisdom, to honor your joy, to honor your light. Thank you for gifting us with the gift of song, with the gift of music, with the gift of brotherhood, with the gift of this present moment. As our hearts and minds gather here in this sacred space, we again pray that you enter and speak to us and through us as you have been the whole way and all along. We ask that you guide our hearts to vulnerability, guide our minds to clarity, guide our souls to soul expressions. May we experience the power, the joy, the beauty, the poetry, the love, the wisdom, the joy of all that you are. All those who receive this message, this transmission, may they be healed, may they be strengthened, may they be comforted. Whatever they need in this hour, we pray that your spirit enters. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks in advance. Everything works out.
The way it's supposed to.
Ooh. Ashe.
Ashe.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're here in honor of this beautiful song that is out, Everything Works Out. And before we get into all the details about that, I would love to know, and I would like you to take some time to think about this, a time in your life when everything worked out, but while it was working out, you had no idea. A time when things worked out and you were just left in awe or wonder. Whatever first thing comes to your mind, what was that time like, and what did you learn about yourself and how you interact with the world in that time?
Beautiful. Well, I mean, I guess I can start.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, you know, I live in Atlanta now, we all do. 10 years ago, I'm from South Carolina. I moved to Atlanta for college, spent 10 years here, and everything just started falling apart. I promised myself, I've been out the house since 17. I promised myself
Same.
I would never move back home.
Yeah.
No matter what, I would live in a shed, in a doghouse before I moved back home. And it's funny, you get what you ask for, or sometimes you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And went through one of the toughest times of my life, was feeling super lonely, had no money. I was in Atlanta just trying to figure it out. And I had a conversation with my mom, and she's just like, why don't you just come back and regroup? Absolutely not.
No way.
No way. But I went home that night and really thought about what she said. And against like all the resistance that I thought it was resistance at the time, but it was really just a call into my greatness. I decided to move back home. And what I thought was just like the biggest breaking point in my life. I moved back home. Within a month's time, my dad passed. My brother moved back home. My sister moved. Everybody moved back at the same exact time. And within that month, my dad just got direly sick. Was in a hospital. And I got to spend every day of that month with him. And I prayed my whole life to have a relationship with my father. And my whole life, I ended up having a relationship for 1 month, but the quality of the interaction, I had so much peace when he transitioned, just knowing that, wow, sometimes we pray for something and we don't know how long the window is, you know, but for that duration that I had real time with him, I was just like, man, if I hadn't come home, if I hadn't honored the call to come home and to break, you know, I wouldn't have been able to reposition myself. So my dad passed. He left us a little bit of money, which ultimately allowed me to work on my first project. I was at home away from all of the noise, all of everything going on in Atlanta, trying to chase a dream. It was just like, Christian, just learn how to mourn. Learn how to be okay with having family again. You're not out here by yourself as much as you tell yourself that you are, because you have been. Via your own decisions. Here you are back with family, and you have an opportunity to come to terms with the relationships that you had and the relationships that you want. Are you willing to invest? And so I did. I spent about 2 years back in South Carolina, and it springboarded me so crazy into, I was commuting to Atlanta like every week. driving 2 hours after work. We started camp in 2020, still driving back and forth from South Carolina.
Wow.
Yep. And I ended up moving back here in the most amazing position. Just from taking a true step back, I got a chance to watch my dad transition gracefully and have true peace with that situation. I get a chance to reestablish myself. Got a chance to spend time with family and remember that I'm actually not alone in this world like I think I am, or have created
the story,
positioned the story, that the narrative I've been telling myself the whole time. And here looking back on the whole situation years later, like it was all supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
And just like we were speaking about earlier, is like, is it written or are we writing it?
Yeah.
You know, it's a symbiotic
Absolutely.
story. And maybe we'll never know. Maybe we will.
Yeah.
But either way, I think when you have that thing inside of you that's just saying, just do it.
Yeah.
You know, the best thing that you can do is not ignore that, because that voice does get more quiet. Like anything,
It does get quiet.
you know, you could be the best artist if somebody tears you down without any constructive input. You know, that voice is going to become more timid. And I think there's something inside of us that wants to roar and protect us. And it's sure and decisive. But the more that we tarnish that voice, it just begins to fade and fade. So
I want to ask before we come over here, when you said it, it felt like a breaking. At the time, you thought it was you breaking. Can you share more about what you were feeling and what you were experiencing that helped it feel that way? You just shared what it felt like coming through it, but in the beginning, when you were making that decision, what did you feel like was breaking?
Well, this idea that I've created of myself, you know, one could justify this loneliness or like self-made identity, you know, all these things that society says really makes you a success. Especially as a young man, when a lot of what people recognize is what we're able to contribute. Me being on my own for so long, it was just like, look at me. I might not have been doing it well,
but I'm out here.
I'm doing something. I'm doing something. And so this identity that I created, although I'm not efficient and I'm not doing this well or skillfully, I've still created this person where it's still me. And so the thought of what is everybody gonna think about me moving back to my mother's house at 25 years old. And at the time, I'm like, bro, you're just 25. But 25 thinking, you know,
it's like I'm
25 with the outdated pride is tough. So I think more about that decision to move back. What broke was this idea that I was somebody that I was, the delusion that I had created of myself that, had to recognize myself as somebody that I wasn't, and have become comfortable with that identity. So when it came time for me to face that reality and look at myself in the mirror, what broke was me having to say, is this worth hanging on to? Or am I willing to let this thing die because I recognize that there's something that needs to live within me? That's my thought on that.
I mean, how much, if you just say with the music, like how much beautiful music came from that decision and that choice to go home, to allow the break-in? How many relationships have been healed, developed?
Everything. Because everything. I got to travel to Peru. I got to travel with Peru. I got to sit with ayahuasca. Like everything. I just really got a chance to experience life again. I think when we do get locked into these, like as an artist or our success stories, whatever we're doing, you know, when we catch inertia and we see success happening, we forget about the balance of having to live to continue that on. And so where I thought I was doing something, I recognized like, oh, dang, I haven't truly lived in a while. So I really don't even have anything to express. I didn't have anything to talk about.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
I'm going to put a pin in that.
Yeah.
And what about you? Time, everything worked out, but as it was happening, you maybe couldn't see it.
I think that for me is right here, right now. On the way to just over here, I was listening to the record, and I just broke down in little tears. I don't know why, but just the realization how everything works out. Like I could not envision myself making it this far in life, you know, and I don't know what's ahead. And so, but I know that everything will work out because everything has worked out so far. So, and I don't think, like, we project ourselves into the future, but we don't know exactly what it looks like. And our dreams of what things may be are not exactly how they turn out to be. They're better. And so just having that realization today, like, you know, I'm a father, you know, I'm a husband, You know, I'm an artist, I'm a creative, I'm a poet, I'm an author. Things that I could never dream of, things that I had no dreams of, they are present in my life. They are my reality. And, you know, just receiving those tears and just having that moment to myself saying that, you know, I'm grateful for my life. I'm thankful for my life. This is my life.
Yeah.
Like owning it. Like this is my life, and this is not what I prayed for, but this is what you know God had in the store for me. And so, but I'm always arriving at that point. It's never like I can reflect on my past and see how everything has worked out. But the type of person I am, I'm always here and right now, seeing how although I don't know what tomorrow may bring, I know that this moment is promised to me, and I'm here and I'm now, and I know that this moment will work out for the best. And so it's just taking the history of me and updating it into this present moment and shining this light back on all past versions of myself, saying, "Look, you didn't have these things dreamed. You didn't have these plans. You didn't have these goals, these aspirations, but you are here, even further than even further than you could possibly dream." And so I just that is always my reflection. And today it really hit home to really just step back and see, because we can be working a lot. We can, as creatives, as entrepreneurs, we can always just be going and going and going and going and going and never stop to say, okay, everything has worked out. I don't need to do any more or any less. I just need to trust this moment and trust that everything will work out and everything is working out. And so for me, it's in every moment, because there's doubt in every moment. There's insecurity in every moment. Like you said, that the intuitive voice gets smaller and smaller the more you don't come out of that intuitive voice.
Yeah.
The more you don't express from that space, it just gets smaller and smaller. And so in this season of my life, I'm coming out of that small voice and making that voice even louder. So that I can, like you say, to truly live, because I haven't lived. I've always been working.
Yeah.
I've always been grinding. I've always been head down, creating. Although I'm creating, I'm not creating and looking around to see what it's doing. I'm just creating just to create, just because creativity is in me. And just today, just that brief moment of just sitting back and relaxing and accepting my life and saying, like, you know, this is my life, you know, and everything has worked out more than it was supposed to.
Yeah.
More than what it was supposed to.
I think what's interesting about what you said is, like, it's kind of contrary to what everybody would say nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, be clear about what you want, manifest your reality.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's just like, wouldn't our creator create our needs in the same way that our wants touch our hearts? You know, our wants and our needs, probably a lot more symbiotic than we think.
Yeah.
And when one subscribes more to the reason than the results, our expectations are exceeded almost every time. It's just like everything works out better than it was supposed to, you know?
I think because our capacity to dream is very limited, and the dreams come to us from the limitless. You know, so when we receive a dream or a vision, we only receive a pixel of that. We only receive a frame of that. And so we don't see the whole picture. We don't see the whole landscape, and we're just receiving the dream thinking, okay, that's it. But we don't step back and see, okay, wow, that's really it, until we get there, until we arrive.
So how do you develop that muscle for that type of understanding and understanding? What is a practice that you go to remind yourself, I'm only seeing in part, one day fully, but right now I'm seeing in part, and to live in that and appreciate it and embrace it?
Yeah, I would say, like, just knowing, reminding myself that this life is not my own.
Yeah.
This life belongs to God.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm just a vessel. I'm just an instrument. I'm just the one who has been given the voice in this season. I'm just the one who has been given this mic in the season. And so it's all up to God, my success, my failure, and everything in between. Of course, I show up every day.
Yep.
Of course, I'm making sure I'm doing my routines. I'm making sure I'm disciplined. Of course, I'm making sure that I'm aware of myself and the way in which my life is going and not falling by the wayside. It's still having that deep level of devotion to God every day, you know, every day, just giving my heart to God. And that's in the form of, like, conversations with brothers. That's in the form of, you know, my relationship, my marriage.
Yeah.
That's in the form of me being a father. So, you know, just figuring out more and more ways that I can be loved. I think that really just sets the tone for me.
More and more ways that I can be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Me, it's more of every morning reminding myself in prayer that I get to do this life thing. A long time ago, I was talking to he's a little bit older than me. And I was like, man, how long do you want to live until? And he was like, man, I want to live as long as I can, 120. And, you know, I was like, okay, let's dive into this.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like this live fast, die young. Yeah. Like if I crash tonight, you know, I'm going to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
But I don't think we hear these messages of longevity. Mm-hmm. And so I asked him why, and he's like, man, you know how long it took me to get here?
Yeah.
I'd be a fool not to like maximize the opportunity. Mm. And that was just like such an interesting perspective and mind shifter.
Yeah.
And it took me out of being so close to life, and it allowed me to see for a moment, this is an experience that we're having. And so selfishly, sometimes we try to dictate how we're going to have it.
Yeah.
When in the grand scheme of things, it's just like, at the end of the day, the conclusion of this experience, we should be able to like interact with and receive fully.
Yeah.
And so here we are trying to make sure that things are happening the way that we want. When in reality, we're having the opportunity and privilege to have a life experience. You know, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what is happening? Yeah. We're kind of crazy looking. Yeah. This is kind of a wild thing that we're getting a chance to do.
Yeah.
So I think when you're asking like, how do you just find ways to encourage taking one step at a time?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think in realizing that we're having an experience, like if you were to hop on a roller coaster, you're not like turn left, turn. You're just like,
I'm on the roller coaster.
You're buckling up. Yep. And if you're wise, you know, when you go down that crazy hill, you would just let go and allow that breath to just, That's how you enjoy.
Yeah.
I learned that actually. I used to be terrified of roller coasters. I still don't like them, but I used to be terrified. This guy named Mike Trout back in Chicago, I was working with some young kids and they wanted to go sledding with me down the sled, and I wouldn't do it because I was so afraid. And he was like, Kareem, just scream.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I believed him. I trusted it. I got on there, and I really wanted to hang with the kids. It was like they wanted to, Mr. K, come on. I had to keep saying no, and I hated that. And I finally got on, and I just opened my mouth and let out the feeling I was feeling, and it immediately switched to joy. I mean, the whole experience switched just when I acknowledged what was happening, what I was feeling, and the fear switched to joy. And I learned so much about how to approach every situation in that. It's like open my mouth, open my eyes, and embrace what's going on.
Let it all come. Be transparent.
That's it.
In the experience, as transparent as you can. I think that's purity. It's transparency.
Yeah.
It's like 2 birthdays ago, I asked all the homies to go to Six Flags, and it was like, "Why you want to ride a roller coaster?" And I was like, "It's deeper than that. I just want to learn to ride the ride with you guys. Let's ride skillfully." And I encouraged them all.
Yeah.
You know, my friend Erica actually. The first time she was like,
that's how I used to be. Like something's happening to me.
I just like, let go.
Let go.
Yeah.
And we all let go. She's like, again.
Again.
Then it becomes fun.
And then you can do life over and over.
It's a thrill.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we've all gotten to the space now where it's just like right before that breakthrough happens and we feel that like,
release. Okay.
Thank you, God. I'm excited to see what you have next in store for me.
Yeah.
Talk to me about God. So in this song, you guys both have a lot of ideas about faith, about prayer, about God. Before we even get to what that means for you, if you could, what is God, and how do you experience God in your everyday living? Who is God?
Who is God?
Yeah.
I would say just to open it up, God is the nameless, God is the formless, God is the everything and everything. And that's the furthest extreme that we can go.
Yep.
The unknowable. Because we have to be humble in that way too, because we cannot even conceive. We haven't been given the intelligence to be able to conceive the entirety of that. But when we bring it back to ourselves and we go to the most innate feelings within ourselves, we just come back to love. You know, and that being a channel for all that you can possibly think and even beyond your thinking. And so I do truly feel and practice the curiosity that it takes to not say what God is, to not define it, because once I defined it, it stops being that.
Yep.
And only what I can conceive it to be, only what I can picture it to be, only what I can express it to be. And so I'm always leaning more into that question. what are you in? What are you? What are you?
Yeah.
And right now, I'm this present moment. Right now, I am this conversation. Right now, I'm these cameras. Right now, I am the I, the I and I. Right now, I am everyone and everything. And so it always changes, depends upon your perspective or where you're standing. And it's like a one of these old Hindu adages where there was a king. He had three sons, and he would always send the sons out to watch the elephant, to clean the elephant. And one of them would wash the head, one of them would wash the tail, one of them would wash the side. And the dad or the king called his sons back into the castle, and I think he said, like, if one of you can tell me what the elephant is, I will give you the entire kingdom. And one of the sons says the elephant is like a long rope hanging from heaven. And one of the sons was like, he was painting the side of the elephant, and he said, and an elephant is like a large landscape wall. And this third son said the elephant was like a stairway up to heaven. So it's based upon your perspective of where you are in relation to that, whatever that is. That's what you can perceive, and that's what you project as that. But when it comes back down to it, just a very grounded approach is knowing God to be love and feeling God to be love, and allowing that love to take me into deeper curiosity and exploration. I do believe, yeah.
Did any of those sons get the kingdom?
Nah,
They
ain't
niggas
the
did
kingdom.
not
They
get
ain't
it.
the kingdom. Yeah. Because when you're so close to it, even when
Yeah.
you're so close to something, it's hard to recognize what it truly is.
Yep.
Only when you step back, only when we are gifted the opportunity to step back from this experience, might we understand what it is. But it's a conversation starter, and it's the fuel to life. I think
Ashe.
it starts off with that question. Life starts with that question.
That's a beautiful,
Yeah.
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, come on, I'm coming with it.
Okay, come on.
So I'll say, I tend to look for my answers in nature,
Yeah.
by how humans try to recreate
Yep.
nature.
Yeah.
So I would say God for me is like the internet, the natural internet. What man has tried to recreate. It doesn't exist anywhere,
Right. Yeah.
but it exists amongst the users. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is in itself what connects us. I think at the root of everyone is a connection point to God.
Yeah.
And kind of like Londrelle was saying, yeah, each person is at a different side of this elephant, speaking on their perspectives, and how broken is their communication,
Yeah.
expressing this.
Yeah.
And alone, being so close to it, they're all almost manipulating themselves, not recognizing how close they are to it. But in the conversation and comprehension with each other from all these different sides, they would be able to recognize what it is together.
Yeah. Together.
So I don't think that
Perspective.
any one person could say what
Yeah.
God is or isn't. And ultimately, that's the beauty in it. Just God is. And I think that, as we sit in meditations or those moments where we say why, if we were to say the opposite of why, if we were to ask ourselves why we even asking why,
Yep.
I think that brings us back to a true place of humility to say, oh,
Yeah.
God doesn't need any of that.
Yeah.
Us being here right now, if we could really humble ourselves to recognize that, how?
Yeah.
I think in that question, recognizing the connection that we each have and the contribution to this space from the lights, from the person recording this podcast, to us having this conversation, to the structure that we're sitting in, to the chairs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is such a connected experience.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about God or when I sit with God in the mornings, I'm trying to bring myself back to that centered place. Like you said, to try to distance myself from my personal interaction, but instead to center myself in that vastness of, wow, everything is held in God.
Yeah.
And there's channels within that as well. And we subscribe to different channels within
Yep.
that we get to connect with each other in.
Yeah.
And we all have a contribution and a responsibility to serve God's will. And that has nothing to, it's bigger than us.
Oh,
And
I love it. Okay, keep going.
let me get a little agua.
I
Man.
love living water. So y'all,
Shout out to God.
shout out God.
Shout out to God.
Thank you.
I love God, man.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah.
In relationship to the song and what y'all are just saying, one of the things I wrestle with and I hear a lot, especially in these times where it feels like it can be high intensity, a lot of fear, loss, broken promises from authority figures, governments, things like that. And I always say, like, it's all God's will, as it were. So if we're all serving God's purposes, how do you come to an agreement within yourself for what you might consider bad things happening, bad people existing, calamities, disasters, things like murder and theft and all those things?
Yeah.
How does that work together in the picture if it's all working out the way it's supposed to?
Right. I don't necessarily think of things as good or evil.
Exactly.
Good or bad even. I think really the chaos and disruption to God's will is indifference. And not serving God's will.
Yeah.
I know that might sound like crazy to some, but I think, choose your side. It's going to create a balance. Nature works in a way that it always balances itself. But I think in the indifference to step or to serve in the way that you truly are being called to, and that could get as deep as we want, but everybody has their karma that they're living through.
Yeah.
Everybody has their past to grow through. I've made some decisions that have probably, really hurt people at a certain point in their lives that might have helped them more
For sure.
in the future.
For sure.
I was a high school running back. I was supposed to play college football, and I had a tendon sleeve fracture. I tell people ACL because it's easier to just say. And at that time, it was terrible, man. It was like everything that I thought I was going to be doing wasn't, but it ended up being that one thing that like shifted my perspective to say like, oh wow, like here I am sitting in this bed, not able to do anything. I thought I was invincible, and so I think the person that tackled me to hurt my leg, it's just like, was he bad for injuring me?
Right.
Was this person that's just like strung out or just out of their mind that robs this bank that prompted somebody else? You know what I'm saying? It's just everything is interconnected and colliding. But I think that person who sits in their room with that calling inside of them in one way or another that chooses to not to say that inaction is always bad, but the indifference, disposition,
the apathy,
Yeah.
I think is where the chaos is truly rooted. So if that answers your question.
It does, and I'm holding my.
Sure.
Do you have anything you want to say to that?
Between the reality of good and bad, I think we have arrived here from eons and eons and eons and eons of experience.
Yep.
And so as we have arrived here, like you said, there's so much karma tied into who we are. You don't know what karma you had to be able to have your knees affected in that way, but to be able to be vulnerable to that in that way. And so it just comes with the territory of being human. We all have been called on stage for this divine play.
Yep.
And we all have roles. I can't be Christian. I can't be Kareem.
No.
Only you can be you. Only you can be you. And so it's like, we have auditioned for these roles, and here we are. And we've all come from the great beyond. We have all come from God, and it is our destiny to return to God. And so in whatever way that happens, it will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen. God's will is love. God's will is love. And so as we return to love, we return to God, and naturally we return to love, always naturally, even if we swing to the end of the spectrum, because love is not on the spectrum.
Right.
Love doesn't play the game of good and bad. Love does not keep score of anything. Love is love, and always holding that space, that loving awareness. And so as we do what humans do in this realm of experience, this is just what happens in this realm of experience. There are higher and lower realms of experience, and this is what we are here to experience, to develop the compassion that God has, to develop the sympathy that God has, to develop the mercy that God has. And in this life, we have things that trigger that. Without the hero, the evildoer would be pointless, useless. And without the evildoer, the hero would be pointless, useless. So you have to have both in order to do this divine dance that we're doing. And so it is a dance. God has took himself and split himself into so many different forms, but still maintains his true essence, and to dance with each other, to see what kind of mischief I can get myself into. And so that's just the play that we have signed up for. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, I
Cookie is
guess.
crumbling.
And even, thinking about that, the most basic element that we, are aware of is the atom.
Yeah.
And even it has that positive and negative
For
charge.
sure.
And
A whole universe in there.
a whole universe in there. The most basic unit.
And even that is coming in and out of existence.
Yes.
It's renewing itself even in this moment. Every atom in our body is renewing itself. The same atoms that we have are the same atoms that our ancestors has, because it's all being recycled. And so who really are we?
That's
Who
what
really
he
are
said.
we?
What is
Who really are
happening?
we?
What is happening?
Yeah, like we seem so solid.
Yeah.
We seem so solid.
Yeah, because parts of me are exchanging with you, and parts of everybody in this room is exchanging parts of ourselves, and we're all getting mixed up together. It's like, okay, who really am I?
Who really am I?
You know?
Am I?
Am I?
Am I even?
When I hear you all speaking, what I'm reminded of is like, and from this place, I can take nothing personally.
Yeah.
That it is just happening, and I am blessed to be a part of it in the role that I've been given to play, chosen to play, co-creating. Is it written? Am I writing it? And both is happening at the same time. And for me, that brings a lot of peace and surrender. But I definitely know of times in my life when I'm not in that state of peacefulness and surrender, and I'm fighting and I'm trying to make it happen or stop something from happening. And that puts me in the most almost violent space when I'm like trying to protect myself or stop something that I think is bad from happening. And I know that I believe that there's a healthy way to do that. And to also be open to whatever happens happening. And that is it's a very interesting paradox and beautiful dance. And I'm still learning every day how to best show up to that.
I think about it like trying to walk across the ocean. Or like imagine trying to fight water.
Yeah.
It's just like,
No.
what would be the point of that?
You're not having it.
Where would you get? Like,
No.
What would you accomplish?
And
You
if you
drown
could-
quicker.
If you could surrender, though, if you could surrender and
your head
appreciate the ocean for what it is, you can learn to swim. You can build a raft,
Or maybe
a
even
boat.
realize the ocean is not there.
What ocean? There is no
You
spoon.
became the ocean.
All right. I want to ask y'all if we could get even deeper and real. And yeah, just take your time with this. As Black men, as at least experiencing life as that in this now, in this time.
Of course.
I have two sons, and I think about what they are witnessing and learning and watching me and the people I bring around, and then from others. What was your relationship like with your father, good or bad? And what did you learn, or what are you learning from that experience? And I know where both of you are, at least where they exist. So I would love your perspective on that. What, from your father, what did you get? What was the experience like? And what did you learn and are learning about experiencing that?
Right.
Yeah. I'll start because my experience is very like minuscule.
Yeah.
So my father died when I was 11 months old. So the experience for me is not an experience, I guess you can say, with a person. I didn't see pictures either, and so there's no really connection ingrained in me to even think of the word father or to have an experience, I could say. And so I just never had a father. That was always the thing. I just never had a father. Never had a daddy. Never had a daddy. Died when I was. He was murdered when I was 11 months old, and so that was the norm for me. And that was pretty much growing up in the hood, growing up in the ghetto, growing up in the projects. That's everyone.
Yep.
And so nobody really have dads. And so I guess it wasn't an absence. I don't think it was an absence, but it wasn't a thing. And so I didn't even think about it. I didn't want for it. I didn't need for it. Although I grew up in a very abusive home and a very traumatic home and a toxic home, I just didn't hunger for a dad. I didn't hunger for a father. I guess it was just innate within me. Just it's you don't have, and so you don't reflect on it. Yeah.
And that I feel you saying like it is what it was, and you were just in it. But how would you express maybe your feelings about not even having feelings about it?
Really just acceptance.
Yeah.
Like I think from an early age I've been taught to accept, accept the worst of the worst because the worst could happen. And so I don't expect the worst, but I accept the worst and just keep it moving, just keep it pushing, knowing that, not even knowing, but trusting. And I guess trusting is knowing, but just being in a space where like I'm good, I'm okay. And I didn't have a relationship with God back then, but there was always something within me to just know like I'm good. I was always like the golden one. And so the black sheep. And so for me it was just always like, yeah, we good. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have the language. But now that I have the language, it's really subconsciously trusting in a higher power, higher than yourself, and not really actualizing it. Now I can express it, but it's really just self composure. I
Yeah.
guess you could say self composure.
Would you say you learned that from that relationship or lack thereof? You learned I
Yeah.
can be very composed, and
Yeah.
because I love how you just say you were the golden child and the black sheep.
Yeah.
Those seem like two opposite ends of the spectrum, but you
Yeah.
experienced them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess it's like once again, if you don't think about it, you don't think about it. But it creates that environment creates a bit of self reflection.
Yeah.
And the moment that you self reflect, there's a knowing that you already that goes on in there that you don't have to express, that you just know.
Yeah.
And you have that sort of composure and calmness and peace about you that nobody can teach you. That's the grace of God.
Yeah.
And you can pray for it, you can ask for it, you can beg for it, but you have to be worthy of it. You have to be pushed enough outside of yourself so that you come back to yourself and experience yourself. And so for me, my experience of the world has always been myself. My experience of everything outside of me has been the experience of myself. And so I've always been at peace with myself despite the chaos around me. Despite the things that happened to me or happened in my life, I've always been at peace with whatever happens. Because from the very beginning, it's like you grow up in these situations, and from the very beginning, it's dark, and so that's just what we do.
Yeah, it was dark.
Yeah.
And now that you are a father,
Yeah.
what comes up for you now as you continue to prepare and experience fatherhood and what you're believing that you're supposed to bring to the table and hold space for?
Yeah.
What comes up for you in relationship to being fatherless in that way and now being such a prominent father?
I guess because I didn't have an example of what a father is and what a father could be. For me, it's all play. For me, it's all dance. For me, it's in this stage, at least in this stage. It's all play. It's all dance. It's all about awakening a deeper love within myself to be able to be what a father, come into the role of a father. I think love is the thing that fills us up. And so whether we are mother or father or cousin or brother, we are love expressing through the medium of a father, a mother, a brother. It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
And for me, that's just most important. It's not like I'm a father or a husband. I am love, and that's what I try to be, regardless of the role, because that's just a role. And I'm so blessed to play it now, but it won't be forever. And so for me, it's just not clinging to the archetype of what that is and just being the love that I am and coming out from that space and pouring to this physical specimen that you see before you today. Is not this. It's what's coming through this to express as this. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I saw your video on Instagram with y'all playing.
Always
yeah, it's
playing.
all
Yeah, it was
play. It's
amazing.
all play. It's all joy.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love when you share those videos with you and
Yeah.
your daughter, man.
The
It's
real
cool.
lessons are not there yet.
Yeah.
The real lessons are not there. Right now, we're just having a
Just
good
having
time.
a good
Yeah.
time. Yeah, as
Yeah.
you should, man.
It switches, and I pray you keep the play. It definitely grows, and the opportunities to express
Yeah.
love in so many different ways
Yeah.
will continue to grow as her capacity to even
Yeah.
interface with you in
Yeah.
the world. But the playfulness and the love that's the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What did you learn from your relationship with your father? You spoke to it a little bit already, but
Yeah. Man, hearing your perspective on it, it's just so wild how we can all have such
yeah.
different experiences that all bring us to similar places. I would never say that my dad wasn't absent. So I had a dad. I didn't necessarily have a father. So I don't necessarily know that I had a representation of what a father looked like.
Yeah.
Son, here's my watch. It's just like, let's play some football. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
like,
Like catch.
it was never that.
Yeah.
He did enough to say that he was around, but I never really felt connected. And so I always prayed for that relationship with him. And for the most part, I did my own thing growing up. He was never really around like my sports events or anything like that. But I will say, kind of going back to what we spoke about earlier, towards the end of his life here on earth, this go around at least, I got a chance to really spend it with him. And at his funeral, this lady went up and was speaking on him. And she just spoke about how sweet of a man, and like person after person after person just spoke about him as a sweet man.
Wow.
And I may not have gotten a chance to experience him in the world per se, or how he interacted with the world. In that last month that we had, I got a chance to sit and listen to R&B with him and just kind of chop it up. But to hear so many people not speak about my father as the super hard worker, or the like, just being sweet.
Wow.
And his ex-girlfriend at the time, she stood up there and she was like, man, your father used to write me a poem every week.
Oh, wow.
Every week. And just to hear about the sweetness of a black man, which I think is like something we don't get to hear often. It gave me a chance to feel more sure and supported. He was also a Cancer. I'm a Cancer too. So growing up as a sensitive young Cancer male, you know, I didn't necessarily feel supported when I had these like, I feel just like, stop being a wimp.
Stop.
Why are you being so sensitive?
Yeah.
And so to see at the end of my father's life, to also see that, oh, wow, he's being recognized for his ability to alchemize his sensitivity and express it as true care, and people recognize that and receive it. I think my relationship with my father, although I don't have an example of what the structure side looks like, which gives me an opportunity to like place that in a way that feels natural and innate to me when my time comes, but also gave me a chance to really recognize how valuable a receptive male is when it comes to like the sensitivities of communing and engaging with each other, and not being scared to say I love you. And although I might not have had that experience with him, to hear the experience that others had with him gave me an insight into his life. And I think I get a chance, you know, when I pray or I acknowledge my ancestors or my fathers, just to be like, wow, I'm just grateful I got to know you. You know, and so it's less of like, this was my dad or my father, but I'm just like, yo, it's dope that I had a dad, you know, in this life experience. At least I got a chance to see you, and I got pictures, and, you know, maybe I'm creating ideas of you that aren't, but it's even cool to just be able to think about my father in a high light, and to be able to, if anything, project that forward into what my future situations, if God willing, you know, I'm able to be a father one day. That's kind of my experience.
I think you both brought up some aspect of fatherlessness, which can be very common for young black men. Anything that we could say to them about the importance of being vulnerable, the importance of keeping your heart open, and to love and forgiveness, especially considering like my father, who was present, but emotionally maybe not as much. But when I look at his father, it's like, wow, you really brought the ball pretty far from what you were shown, you know. And then I get this opportunity to continue to move it forward. What do we say to the other young men who are feeling like that? Like, I don't really have a dad.
Well, I would say that doesn't mean that fathers aren't here making themselves available for you either. Because although I didn't have that fatherhood from my biological father, I had fathers along the way.
Come on.
But I also had to position myself to go try out for that wrestling team, to go try out for that football team. You know, I moved up here for college by myself, and I was living in the dorms with no furniture at all. And I was dating a girl, and her dad came in just to meet me, and he comes in, he's like, you don't have a pillow? You don't have any sheets? You don't have a curtain?
You're like, nah, I'm thugging
I'm
it.
thugging. I'm young and thugging.
I'm thugging it.
He was just like, nah, man, I'm about to go buy this stuff for you. And I
Come
could have said
on,
no.
man.
I could have said no. But what I said instead was like, okay. And as soon as I got a job, I tried to pay him back. And I kept hearing these father figures over my course of my life say, pay it forward. I've heard that multiple times. And it's happened multiple times in my life. So at this point in my life, it's just like, okay, that's what fatherhood is all about.
Yeah.
It's just paying it forward. And there's
Yeah.
people to look out for you. So I would say to anybody who just doesn't feel like their biological dad has positioned themselves as a father in their life, seek mentorship. And because I truly do believe that those who seek will find. And like Cam said in the song, you know, you get cut and try again. That's what fighters do. Man, if you want that, it's available for you.
Yeah.
You just got to seek it.
Yeah.
And everybody has to take that voyage, you know, to seeking that as well. So yeah, I would just say, yeah, seek mentorship. There are fathers waiting to
Of all types.
pay it forward.
Absolutely.
To pay it forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the word. I really think that's the word. But when it comes to like just managing yourself, to know that everything that you feel is okay, know that all of these emotions are okay, and you know, finding those mentors and seeking those mentors to be able to express yourself, to be able to express those feelings, just to to give them space to be held in this experience. And so yeah, what Christian said is the word, and I don't think I need to add to that, but yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
So if we're going from fathers, we're at least in male bodies. How do you know, or how did you know when you became a man? And this question comes up a lot in the work that I do, because it's like, is it when you're 18? Is it when you move out at 17? I moved out at 17. Is it when you start taking care of yourself? Is it 21?
Yeah.
How do you know, okay, I'm a man? Is there a way to know? And what did it look like for you? What does it look like?
Right. One of my fathers, actually, shout out to Alan.
My dad's name is Alan.
Is it?
Yeah.
Shout out to Alan.
Shout out Alan.
Shout out to Alan.
Man, this sticks with me to my life. You know, he's just like the most, man, when I think about it, man, I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, he got it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't have like the most money. You know, he's just solid. You know what I mean? And I remember we were talking one day, and you know, I was living with them for a while, and I was just trying to prove myself as a man. You know, trying to make sure the grass is cut, doing all the things.
Yeah.
And he sat me down, and he was like, man, you know, a man is just somebody who steps with 2 feet.
Yeah.
That's it. So even going back to the idea of like indecisiveness being the toxin, the greatest toxin of society. No, he just said, you know, if you step with both feet, everything works out.
Yeah.
You know, genuinely. And a man is one that just commits.
Yeah.
You make your decision. That doesn't mean don't take your time with making your decision. But be sure that once you make your decision, you see it through.
You step
through the mud, through the rain, through the thunderstorm. Your decision is your decision to keep and hold and to invest in. But when you decide.
Yeah.
And just step with both feet. So I think that's really the process to developing or maturing as a man, is to say, okay, like, I made this decision. Yikes, you know, that first step into it, you're like, oh my God. But you just keep stepping into it. And every time you do that, it's just like.
What did that do for you when he's told you that? When you're out there doing all the work, working, doing, and he told you could just be, basically. What did that do for you?
Well, I think it scared me at first, in all honesty, because it's just like, there's a safety that feels, there's a comfort that comes with being 1 foot in and 1 foot out. It seems as though you're in control. Or that you can, you know what I'm saying? It seems like it's flexibility. Yeah. But it's really just being like a horse grabbing one arm and the other and just going in opposite directions. You know, at a certain point, it's going to create, you know, indifference in yourself, or lack of motivation, lack of creativity, confidence in oneself. So I think for me in that moment, it scared me at first until I tried it out for the first time. You know, and even walking through, you know, I think one of the biggest things now is just see it through. Yeah. Well, regardless of what it is, see it through. Yeah.
Got to see it through, my boy.
My boy Prince Okeezy, man. Shout out to Okeezy. He had a song, and one of his lines, he's like, falling is acceptable. Crawling is acceptable. Crying, so acceptable. Quitting, unacceptable.
Period.
Unacceptable. Yeah. And I just think that's so real, man. I think that's the true quality of a man. It's just like, if you say you're going to do it,
do it.
It's your absolute duty to then do it.
Yeah.
You got to stand on what you say.
Stand on what you say.
Yeah, for sure.
Any thoughts about how to know when you're a man? How did you know when you were a man?
Still learning. But I think I have been blessed with the opportunity at least just for me, to redefine that. You know, having no examples. I mean, there are males around me,
Yeah.
but who can say that they're men? I'm not sure, but because I'm very different from everyone that I've grown up with, and everyone. Not that I mean, we're all very alike,
Yeah.
but you know, just my upbringing being very different, and so just stepping into fatherhood, I think fatherhood is teaching me more about that than anything else. Um, but in my own fatherhood journey, like it's not just like I go to a 9 to 5 and come back at 6 o'clock and commune with my wife and my daughter. But I'm around my daughter 24/7, and I love taking care of her. I love cooking for her. I love providing for my family, and so just redefining the roles and not being stuck
Absolutely.
into what society says a man
Yep.
is. I hire somebody to cut my grass. Because I'm a creative and I
Yeah.
like to create. And of course, I could do it, but you're the man for it. You want
Yeah.
to serve, you want to
Yeah,
serve.
exactly.
I'm not going to stop you from serving. And so, for me, it's redefining the role and it's redefining it every day and understanding it more and more every day. Not what being a man is, but being a human being is. And so because we can often get lost into the role of I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a
yep.
man. But what does it really mean? And so I'm open to the experience teaching me what it means to be a man. I can't say it right now, but at the end of my life, I will be able to say what a man is, and that I'm okay with that.
All right.
I'm okay with the experiment, and that's just me because I think I'm fluid, not in my sexuality, but I'm
Yeah.
fluid in just how I am.
Your being.
And so
You get to say what kind of man you were.
yes. So I get to really define, not redefine, but define within my own self what that truly means, what that identity truly means, and I probably won't be able to express it, but I can live it. That's the best thing I can do is just live what it's like to be a man.
Truly.
You brought up sexuality. That was my next thing.
Yeah.
We got fathers missing them. We're experiencing things. What is your first memory, your first experience with your own sexuality, your own idea about what sex is? And would you consider it positive, negative, or somewhere in between, if positive and negative even exist?
No, that's a really interesting one for sure. Because I don't know that I've ever asked myself what my first interaction was. I started young, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And a week after I got my first kiss, man, I was knocking the boots.
Yeah.
But
You was probably proud
I'm
then.
proud to be proud.
so proud. So
Yeah.
proud. But honestly, it came from a place, as I reflect, not necessarily having those figures in my household
Yep.
to say, hey, this is a thing that forms bonds. I think early on it created an opportunity for me to fill a void early on. So I think those are my probably earliest interactions with it. It was like, oh, whoa, I feel seen.
Yeah.
And I feel held, and I feel, is this love? So I think love was like sex
Yeah.
when I was young, because, I go back in the house and, I'm in the house with my brother and my sister and my mom, but there's not that feeling there,
Yep.
Yeah.
and for what I could perceive at that moment, this was the richest feeling that I had access to. So I was like, it's gotta be love, so I think that I went into that, and most things that give us these dopamine rushes or feel very, very elated, we keep going after it, and then over time it tarnishes,
Absolutely.
So I think that was my earliest experience with it, and over the last couple of years, I've been I want my innocence back,
Yeah.
Because we give that away so easily, so young, trying to fill a void, and because we're not taught to protect that innocence,
Yeah.
especially as a young man.
Mm-hmm.
We have similar backgrounds,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I was in the hood, but I was definitely in the hood, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so
Right.
at 14 years old, I was the last one standing with my V card.
Yeah.
14, they was teasing me.
Bro.
Yeah.
I was drugged, bro.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get rid of that,
Yeah.
my innocence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would probably say that's the biggest
And
thing.
how
for
did
me.
it help shape you going into adulthood? This interaction and this play with sexuality and love and
Yeah, I
filling
think
that space.
I think at this point I've tried so many times to feel that safe.
Yeah.
I wrote it in a journal entry I had, said body after body after body after body, just trying to feel loved by somebody. Now I'm just trying to take mommy out on dinner dates. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I think at this point in my life, it's just like, well, I can say through my own experience that that's not going to feel this.
Not at all.
Body after, where I could grab everybody in the world, you know what I mean? And it would just evaporate as soon as I put them in that hole.
Yeah.
And, you know, so now I'm just like, okay, what holds that space then truly sustainably? Like God, how do I connect with God? And it's truly through our innocence and our purity. So it's just like, until there's a connection then with God, in that with God, with somebody, then there's truly no sustainability in it. So I'll respect myself enough and this person to abstain until we meet in God. You know what I mean? That's kind of just like where I'm at right now. Like, I want my innocence back as a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, speaking to people like, I just want my innocence. I'm praying for my purity, my innocence. They're like, what? Bro, let's go to the.
Let's go to Folly.
Where?
Let's go to Folly.
Let's go to Follies.
Let's go to Follies.
Let's go to Follies.
And I'm like, man, do your thing, you know? Because good or bad, like, this might be your experience right now as well. And the best thing that I can do is, if or when you ever have a question, I'll have, hopefully, my life to represent an answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And until then, like, this is my journey. Thankfully, I started very young to the point now where as I'm an adult, I'm not looking for those things anymore. Yeah.
What about you? And then I'm gonna share stuff.
Where do we start? So, like, preface it, like, I grew up in the hood, the projects, and so our culture is very toxic. You know, our culture is very toxic. And so the images of sex are ramped up. It's hypersexuality. The music, hypersexual. The movies, hypersexual. And so as a child, I was molested at around 6, 7. And so for me not to have a choice in that, and given my own nature, I just wasn't, even after that, not because of that situation, but I just wasn't interested in anyone. I just felt so complete in myself. I just, not complete, but I just, like, it wasn't a thought. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't a thought that I thought about. I could say it wasn't a thought that I thought about. And so losing your innocence, speaking on innocence, losing your innocence, or having that tainted, I wouldn't say losing it, but having that tainted at a very early age perverts your mind in a certain way. But I'm so grateful by the grace of God that my mind was not perverted in that way, because once you're turned on, you're really turned on. And so especially as a child, especially as a kid, you become hypersexual. You become, especially experiencing, like, you see your mom being beat and her having different guys every few months or every few years. And hearing them in the back room, it kind of like perverts your mind. And so I'm so blessed to be touched by God in such a way that all of those things did not affect me. To be able to have that, like, the eternal sunshine of a spotless mind, to be able to have your mind still remain spotless despite the turmoil, the toxicity, the traumatic experiences that your life is taking you through, to be able to be like the lotus who is untouched, who comes out of the mud, but is untouched by all the impurities below it, or all of the impurities that it has come out of. And so my first experience of just sexual engagement was, the fact that just being molested. And I don't think I had any encounters until I was probably in college, like 19. And so, but it was something that I really, like, chased. It wasn't something that I really, like, I like women, I like girls, but I didn't like them for sex. Right. I thought they were sexy. I thought they were beautiful and gorgeous, but I didn't want them for sex. Yep. And it was after another traumatic experience where I had an ex-girlfriend that I was still, like, going back and forth with, not having sex with, but just being there for, just being there, just being me to her still. And she had a boyfriend. She didn't tell me. I've told this story plenty of times, but she had a boyfriend. She didn't tell me. And so one night I went to go pick her up, and her boyfriend was there. I'm cool with the family, so I just slide through, pick her up for work in the morning, because she asked me, well, let's take it back. She called me the night before, and she was drunk at the club and said, hey, can you come pick me up, take me home? On the way home, can you come pick me up? Blase, 6 o'clock in the morning, can you come pick me up to take me to work? And so I came back. I called her like 6, 7 times and she didn't answer. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know what she took. I don't know what somebody gave her. So I'm thinking she passed out. So I go over. My little cousin opens the door for me, and I go back to her room. And she's there, and her boyfriend is there, and so I just walk out. I leave, and as I'm leaving, they both come out. He has a gun to my head. He shoots me in the back of the head. Whole experience there, and I come back here, and but that situation really turned me off from just relationships. really just turned me off from like relationships. I'm really good now. I'm really good now. I'm really good now. So I went into like my hermit mode, hermit mode, which has always been natural to me because like I don't thrive off my sexuality. I don't thrive off sex. It's not my driving force. Creativity is my driving force. And just expressing myself is my driving force. And so I went on a journey of celibacy for 6 years. 6 years. But even in that, I would dibble and dabble, and I would feel so horrible about it. I would feel so horrible about it because I'm holding myself to a certain standard, but I'm not holding that standard. So maybe it'll be like a one-off thing, like maybe like every 2 years or every year and a half that I find somebody that I really connect with and who can meet me where I am as I'm growing. And so just nothing really hardcore, just not as far as the thing, but hardcore as far as the situation. And so, but even doing that, it really gave me a respect for myself, my body, and just the connection that you share and the sexual experience, and knowing that is a sacred exchange, and so it should be not kept, but it should be experienced with somebody who can meet you where you are in your heart space and with God, like you were saying.
Of course, bro. I love that, man. Thanks for sharing.
No,
This is beautiful. I look at my two boys as they come up, someone's getting hair on his chin and just all the things.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, baller. But the level of openness and vulnerability in the conversations that we have, I'm already seeing it's a wildly different experience that he's having than I had, and that I hear so many times from us. And I'm just really proud of that. And I'm hoping that this can be something like that for a lot of people, to just know like it's totally regular to have thoughts about it, to want to engage in it. It's why it's on people's minds all the time. And there's a way to do it and engage that feels holy and right and good. Pleasure is good. My sexual upbringing, everything was shamed about sex. Everything about it was shameful. So although everybody was doing it and wanted to do it, you're not supposed to let anybody see you. You're not supposed to want it. It's just like, so I was a virgin until I was married. And I got married at 21, and it was great. But I also had so many, and I enjoyed sex with my wife, but I still had so many negative thoughts about myself for even wanting and liking it, especially for the things that I like. It was just like, this is bad. And so bringing a space of like pleasure is okay and can be godly, and it doesn't have. It's not like this part is bad over here and then this part is good. It's like the activity itself is fine. Yeah. My heart is what either needs cleansing and purity or not what I'm doing with this person that I care about. So that's how I'm feeling in this moment about that.
And the thing I appreciate most about this is I don't know that I've been able to sit down with the bros to have conversations like this. Like, it's just, I don't know why it's so trivial, to just ask each other questions that matter. At least in those spaces that actually matter. It's like you're in school and they teach you math and geometry. When are we using geometry? They won't teach you anything about credit. There's no classes that apply to like one's life. And I think a lot of times we have these conversations that don't really apply to one's life. Like,
and it goes into the shame thing. Like, people are ashamed to have those conversations because they want to project themselves to be what they're not and be like hypocritical sometimes. And so I think we all know ourselves and are comfortable with ourselves first and foremost to be able to share with another, regardless of what another may think. We are comfortable in ourselves. We are comfortable in our truth enough to not be critical in that and say, this is just what it is and this is just where I am and this is just where I am. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Londrelle. Were you?
Oh, please. I do, but I'm gonna remember what I gotta say.
Okay, perfect. Well, for you don't know, but I reached out to Londrelle to do the song with me. I just woke up one morning, I sat in my hour, and I was just like, why don't you just ask Londrelle to do the song? You know? And I'm always just super mindful, man, about just making sure opportunities are mutually beneficial. It should always be a win-win, in my opinion, for everybody. And so I did just reach out, in the most respectful way that I could. And he agreed to it. Off the love, man. He sent me the record back. So the question is then, like, what was your decision to embrace the project with me? And, what was your thought process behind that?
I guess first and foremost, I always go off the vibe of the song. Like, beyond the relationship, even though if you're my boy, if I don't vibe with the song, I just don't vibe with the song.
Right.
But it's just the vibe of the song. The first time I heard it, I absolutely fell in love with it. And so it's not that I envisioned myself on it, but this was just like a song that really touched my heart. This is a song that that I really embody and that I really live. And so it was an easy yes, but just the connection that we have, just the brotherhood that we share, and the respect that we share, and just you having the courage enough to say, "Hey, bro, I got this song. Do you want to be on it?" Just you stepping out, knowing your truth, and just you stepping out, knowing your creative gift, and you stepping out, trusting your own intuition, and asking the question prompts me to respond, because I don't have a lot of people that ask me questions about, to feature, or close enough to feature. And so I always know that it is sent by God, and I can hear God and just the questioning. And I can trust God in the questioning as well. And so it was really an easy decision. I already loved the record, and you my bro, and so just answering the call to serve in a greater capacity, because I do believe that the record has legs, but it can have even more legs. It can have even more power to it once we come together and collaborate. I do believe collaboration to be the most effective, creative endeavor that we can actually do, because once a person is in a space of confidence, like you are, and I'm in a space of confidence, those two elements come together and create a whole different being, entity outside of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being part of it, man. I really appreciate it, and I'm honored to even be able to have the
Bro, when you got the record back, what did you feel like? Like, when he sent it back, what was happening?
The first thought when I got the verse back, I was like,
yeah, tell me, yeah.
I was like, how is it so simple to ride?
So simple.
And I'm over here like, I just want to
And like, I take a deep breath and I pray. You're like, yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, because I believe my records have to be practical.
Of course.
Like they're like a regimen. They're like a practice, like a sadhana. They have to be very practical to my life and my journey. I'm a very simple man. And so for me, it's just expressing from a space of where I am and what the vibe is. And so, that's how I live life. Knowing that everything works out, I just take that deep breath, and that breath is my prayer. I do believe breath is the first prayer and breath is the last prayer. Breath is the first spiritual practice and breath is the last spiritual practice.
Right.
So all we have to do is breathe and know that everything will be okay, because that breath has been given to you by God, and everything works out. You know?
And the song itself, just to give a little bit of backstory, this might be a good segue.
Straight. Segue away.
Yeah, so the song was conceived in 2019. And I just felt in my heart, I was like, there's about to be a message to come through. So I was on Instagram one day, my boy Steven Esteban, people just kind of, for whatever reason, he's just going on a flurry of just releasing his memos. Like, when you're in your creative block, you're like, whatever, I'm about to just get all this out.
Yeah.
And he had this little memo that he posted, and he was just like, everything works out. And that was it.
Yeah.
And so I hit him up.
Just a soundbite. Just a
soundbite. It was like 3 seconds long, 5, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
It was short. And I hit him up, and I was like, yo, that's a hit, bro. I was like, I'm about to book a studio session. You want to come with me? Let's build the song out. And he was like, okay.
Of course.
I sent him a date the next day, and I linked up with my man KP, my producer, and we got in. And by the time he got in there, I had already had a skeleton built out with KP. And we were in there, and he was just like,
how do you do that?
From this little snip.
Yeah. And we just sat in there and we just we're talking about it. And then he was there for maybe a couple hours. We were just in there. He was just like, what in the world? we ended it, and I was like, all right, bro, I'm gonna book another session. We about to record it, and this happened just super quick.
Yeah.
The next time he just came, I invited a whole bunch of homies over. That's like the people that you actually hear in the background. These are actually the homies. He came, and we built it out. Everybody was just in it. We just throwing people in the studio, just trying stuff out. And we were just hanging out. And then from there, shout out to Ralph C. He owns Parhelion Studio in Atlanta. I reached out to him. He's kind of like a mentor to me. You know, he has 4 Grammys. He's like a big deal. I reached out to him to help me on it. And he was just so made himself so available, so helpful, man. Just really looked out. So like the whole song had just come from asking that question, like, yo, can we, should we, how should we? Yeah. And then even from that to just like asking you. Yeah. And then after you sent the verse back, asking Ralph again. You know, to the point where we distributed it. It was supposed to be out on the 22nd. Didn't work out with TuneCore. I woke up that morning like, yeah. And then I just sat in it. I was like, what a beautiful record. What a beautiful expression, because it's way bigger than the song. Yeah. And I think each time that we have the duty of expressing something, we get the privilege of experiencing that thing first. So this whole thing, every roadblock hit, is like, I listen to it as I'm editing it, and I'm like, okay. And literally, it was conceived through his message in itself, even down to the conversation that we're having now, to Londrelle saying like, yo, let's do a meditation version as well.
Which is fire.
And which is amazing. And, you know, for me, that was like left field, you know. But I'm like, I'm gonna trust my man. Hey, let's collaborate. This is something that you should bring to the table, like the elephant in the room. Yeah. If I trust God, I'll trust you. Yeah. You know, and so I'm like, okay. And got in, and I was just like, oh, this is fire. This is fire. So
I'm just taking a breath into that. If I trust God, I'll trust you.
If I trust God, I'll trust you. And if I trust myself, then I'll trust the people that I'm around. Yeah. Yeah. For better or worse. Yeah. Almost. You know what I mean?
Because if you and God are like this, God is your friend, is going to let you know who not to mess with and who to mess with. So yeah.
And it's going to align itself. That's the beautiful thing about it.
You don't have to force it.
You don't have to force it. Like you get that flat tire on the road. Thank you, God. Yeah. You know, if somebody just can't make it. Yeah.
I say all the time, I don't know what you helping me avoid. I don't know what drama confrontations I get to go around now because of this delay. Who's now in my path? It's just, you know better. What's happening is just better than I could even imagine. Let me just continue with the flow.
Exactly. I think that's the true testament of the record, man. Like, if we could see beyond what we're able to perceive. Yeah. Maybe it's not even our responsibility to see beyond that. Yeah. Just have faith. You know, and sometimes you just need to hear it from somebody else every once in a while. Yeah. I'm just grateful that we were able to capture
a voice that's not yours, but is you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what do you hope people get from the record when they listen to it, when they're playing it? What is your offering to them? What do you hope that they're receiving from it?
I want them to recognize that we were able to capture a real life, a fundamental lesson of life, to just trust. I don't even want to say trust the process, because that's even still giving too much energy to the result. Yeah. But I would say just be and trust the experience. Yeah. And if you have doubts and you can't trust it in that moment, here is a tool that you can just put on for a moment to just be reminded that you're not in this by yourself. You know, and I think that's the contribution of it. We've recorded this thing that you can play whenever, however. You know, we can't have a time. You can't call me every moment, anytime during the day, Londrelle. But here you have a friend who's like so graciously and openly allowed God to pass this message on. And it's, you know, it's archived. So like, use it. You know, it's just not a song to listen to, but a song to like remember. Live to. Exactly.
Because everything will always need to be working itself out. You will never arrive at a place in a life where there are no roadblocks, where there's no patch of darkness, where there's no confusion, no doubt, no insecurity. We'll always be arriving at something that pushes us back into ourselves, but we are being called to come back out of ourselves and to a more expanded expression of who we truly are and what life truly is. Because this ride, like the roller coaster, it never ends, and we find ourselves here and we find ourselves there, and we just have to be able to scream,
Yeah.
just to be able to say, okay, everything will work out. Let me just go down this dip. Let me just climb up this hill. Let me just go down this dip. Let me just climb up this hill. Because that's just what life is. I look at life like when we're recording songs, we see the wavelengths,
waves.
and we say the up and down and up and down and up and down. That reminds me of a nursery rhyme that my daughter sings every day. But that's just life, It's ups and downs and ups and downs. It's all vibration, And when you look at as a musician, as I'm looking at the audio track, I see the vibration, and I see that is life. I see that is life. The ups and downs, the peaks, the valleys, and so through the highs and lows. I'm humble in the highs, I'm humble in the lows, and giving thanks and gratitude for wherever I am, because I know wherever I am, that's where God has placed me, and I will grow wherever God plants me, way to grow.
Way to grow.
Way to grow.
Can you share the nursery rhyme that she sing every day?
This is up, and this is down, and this is down. This is leaning to the side and side to side, and this is turning around. Yeah. So I guess it's really just feeling the ups, feeling the downs, feeling the sides, feeling the turning arounds, and knowing, okay, this is up.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up. We're up right now. We're down right now. We're side to side right now. And just, I think that nursery rhyme just creates a bit of like presence wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
And I love what you said too. This is where we are. Like the dance of life.
Yeah.
Life is not up while you're down.
Yeah.
You are there together.
It's a ride.
It's a ride that you're on together.
Yeah.
And it's unbiased.
Yeah.
Like a dance, when y'all dip, like y'all are dipping together.
Yeah.
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Yeah. Okay. Come through. Let me find out.
Let me find out.
But it's so true. Like wherever you are, we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to remember when you're at those places where you feel alone in that. It's just it's always crazy for me when I finally have conversations with loved ones when I'm in my low, and they're like, "Oh, we going through the same thing." It's just like,
yeah, this is where we are.
Of course, this is where we are.
I had so many questions to ask, about therapy, about relationships, about love. I think the last one for me, whoever's watching this, whoever's listening, as many times as they do, somebody out there is just starting. And what I love about this record is I can tell that it's embodied, that this is something that is lived. It doesn't feel, and I'm choosing my words as best I can, but the feeling I have is some things that I listen to feel very teachy, very like I'm on a pedestal or platform and I'm telling you, you need to do these things. This feels much more inviting from a place of experience. And encouraging. And so what for the person who is just starting their faith walk, is trying to birth something, is feeling the ups and the downs and doesn't yet know how that makes the beautiful song and that is life, is there anything that you could say to them from this space? Or if you could even imagine just you from before and you now speaking to you, like what would you say to them to help them along their journey to God, to source, back to oneness, to self?
Well, I have two things I think I'll say, unless you have something.
Oh, you can go ahead. Yeah.
If you were hanging on a cliff, I'll give like a little image.
Yeah, please.
That's what we artists do.
Yeah, paint the
Imagery.
picture.
I always
bro.
got a metaphor, man. And so if we're like hanging on a cliff, I think most of us give ourselves this option to either just hang on indefinitely until we fall, or like just muster the strength to pull ourselves up. But sometimes like we don't have the strength to pull ourselves up. But I think it's worth remembering those moments where you're just hanging on to just like, you can also let go.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you let go and you just, I was like, oh, that was silly of me to just be so scared. And I'm like, this right here, literally. It's like, if we're trying to get from here to there, we create this invisible man that looks so far, so tall and so mad, like big from a distance. But as soon as we like walk towards it, it just gets smaller and smaller the closer we get to it. And we finally get up on it, and it's just like, it's not even there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how life refracts these like images that don't even really exist. And it's not until we take action that we actually see life for ourselves. So that's the metaphor. But what I would say to somebody is, don't try to see too far ahead. like soccer, when I used to play, the coach used to always say, don't kick the ball too far in front of you. Somebody could steal it and you would lose control of the ball.
Yeah.
Micro. I talked to the CEO of this company called VisionWorks a long time. And I was like, how do you wrap your mind around all of this?
Yeah.
He's like, I break it down into the smallest pieces that I can take action on.
Yeah.
Because if I can just, even if it's a 0.1 increase, if I do that every day, then the progress will happen over time. Then it's just about me being patient versus waiting on something to happen. And so like my advice would be to somebody, it's not a bad idea every once in a while to take a step back and see the big picture as far as you can perceive, or to like dream to like look towards the stars. That's fine.
Yeah.
But don't forget to like break that down into the like most practical action step.
Yeah.
Because if you just start there, even if that's tomorrow, like I think people say, I'm gonna meditate for the rest of my life tomorrow. You know, just like from now on, I'm gonna go be vegan. Or whatever the case. I'm like, why don't you just start to just eat one meal tomorrow? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or look at one restaurant. What the smallest thing. Yeah. Build your courage.
And your strength, your capacity.
Because it doesn't just happen
overnight.
Don't go into the weight room trying to lift 1,000 pounds the first day.
No. Yeah.
Lift what you can.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised. And you start to recognize it's not about the weight that you can lift. It's about feeling as though you're capable of doing it at all. And then you don't feel like you got to lift a whole bunch of weight because you actually are doing it.
Yep.
And that's where faith, courage, confidence, all of that comes from. It's just like you walk in your journey.
Yeah.
And that's just my take on it.
Give thanks. Yeah. That's the word. But like you said, just to break it on home, start where you are. You know, because where you are, that's exactly where God is. You know, and as you start where you are filled with the inspiration to go further. You know, like you said, like you in the gym, start with whatever you can bench press. Start where you are, and as you gradually start where you are given the inspiration and the motivation to continue to start where you are. And in life, I think it's important to always be starting where you are. Never arrive into a destination. Always be arriving into the present moment and using the tools that you have at your disposal right here and right now. Accepting the relationships that you have right here and right now. Nothing is out of your reach. Everything that life knows that you need, you already have. And you don't need anything outside of your reach. You don't need anything outside of your reach. What you really need to do is reach inside and gather yourself and collect yourself and know that it is God who has arrived as you in this experience to play the play of life, to dance the dance of life. And God does not lack anything, you know, and God does not need anything, and God does not want for anything but to be here and to be now. And so that's a develop realization, but start there. And begin to realize that I have everything that I need right here and right now. Money is something that is transitory. You know, fame is something that is transitory. This experience is something that is transitory. It will come and it will go. Yeah. Just like that. Yep. This experience is like a grain of sand in an ocean of infinity. And so just arrive where you are, because you could wake up in another dimension tomorrow. Truly, you can wake up in another dimension tomorrow. True. So just start where you are with the dreams that you have today, with the inspiration that you have today, and allow the inspiration to take you away. Because inspiration is being in spirit, being in the spirit of God, being in the spirit of the moment. And so as you trust the inspiration that you feel, it naturally takes you to the next inspiring moment. And inspiring moments uplift you. Always. You will never be inspired to do something. You can never be inspired. You can be convinced to do something against your nature, but you will never be inspired to do something that is against your nature, because inspiration lifts you up and takes you higher. And so that all starts by being right here, right now, receiving this breath. Take a deep breath. That is your prayer. That is your greatest prayer. And as you receive that inspiration, that breath is being in spirit, receiving the Holy Spirit, receiving the divine consciousness, receiving the divine intelligence, and allowing it to do its thing in the present moment, just in the present moment, just in the present moment. And so that's the best thing that we can do. Like you said, like start where you are and receive, because we put so much weight on ourselves. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. God says it's already done. Why you tripping? It's already done. Let me work through you. Let me teach through you. Let me speak through you. And as we just put our hands up and allow ourselves to ride this ride, to truly ride this ride, we will find just how magical it is, just how majestic it is, just how captivating and inspiring it can be, creative it can be. Beyond the fame and the money and the likes and the comments, it is enriching to your experience, to experience the joy, the beauty, the bliss, and the love of God if you just trust where you are and knowing that God has never strayed from you and God will never stray away from you. Even though he seems so distant, even though he seems so untouchable, unthinkable, unfathomable, he is right here and right now as this present moment. So as we continue to just come back to the breath and remember that, we again receive the Holy Spirit, receive the Spirit, and come out of that space of receiving to that space of projecting and reflecting and embodying.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
All right. So in terms of the record, I want to just get an opportunity to break down some of these lyrics and some of the thought I got for you, Christian. You say in the first verse, and it jumped out at me when I heard it. You ask, how did we find love before the internet? What? What were you thinking when you wrote that? What was the point that you were making? What are you seeing in the world today that you're kind of speaking to? Right. What's the invitation?
Well, I wasn't thinking anything. I don't think when I write. That's the beauty in being called to be an artist.
Yeah.
I think the most beautiful thing about making music is that I get to release myself.
Yeah.
My sense of self, and then just experience this thing come through me.
Yeah.
And then later I get to listen to it and learn from God.
That's
It's wild. It's the wildest thing, man.
Yeah.
But there's a practice in that as well.
Absolutely.
You know, can you trust that shit?
Yeah. The channeling.
You know, sometimes I wake up in the morning to practice that and just, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But that line, when I reflect back on it, you know, how did we find love before internet? It seems like such an innate thing, like us connecting with each other online, and the likes and the dopamine hits and all of these things like that are what's encouraging us forward. But I think in the theme of the song, everything working out the way it's supposed to, it's just like before we were so sure about how people felt about us via the likes and the comments, before we could just call somebody, when we had to just go to each other's houses and knock on the door and not know if they're home or not, you know? When we didn't have such ease of access to each other via communication, everything was what it was. So the sentiment is, if we stripped all of this away, all of these things that supposedly bring us more flexibility and freedom and access, which is just what most of us are addicted to now. It's like, I want to know more, no more.
Yeah.
So that whole sentiment is like, yo, what if we didn't know anything? What happened before all of that? You know, what happened before we could see into each other's like lives, the other lives that we show each other? Everybody was just living. So how did we find love before we had that access to each other? You know, where was love then? Did it exist?
Yeah. What did we define it as?
What did we define it as? And so the sentiment is that not only does everything work itself out the way it's supposed to, but it always has. And it always will. You know? And so
that's trippy.
Us getting caught up on how things are in this moment, if we just strip that back, would recognize that there's nothing that could ever be done. You know, we get scared about AI, everything that's happened. There could never be anything that's ever done to disrupt nature or what's supposed to be. And in that is the most freedom anybody could have. The most pure peace anybody could have is to know that no matter how man tries to encourage what is to happen, there's only one God. And there's only, well, I'm not going to say there's only one, but life is going to be what it's going to be.
Life is.
Yeah.
Regardless. And I always say to my friends, I mean, the worst case scenario is I die. And it, you know, that's the worst case scenario. And I've met that where it's at. Then then what do I choose to do? Live?
Yeah.
Or just have the fear of dying the whole time?
Gonna live.
I'd rather live.
I'd rather live. I got one more before you say, first thing in the morning, your feet in the soil, meditate. What is your morning practice like? And can you say the lyric and then share just like why that's important to have and how that's shown up for you in your life?
So it's, I don't want to lose my life, you know? One life to live, but it's residual. You plant a seed, reap what you sow. So first thing in the morning, my feet in the soil. You know what I mean? But I say soul but it's perceived as soil.
Yeah.
Because it's first thing in the morning, my feet in the soul. And so my morning routine every single morning, man, I meditate for an hour. Well, first things first, I heard this thing a long time ago. It's like whatever you give your energy to first in the morning is what you worship. So no matter what, I'm always put my phone on airplane mode when I go to rest, not sleep. Because we should always be awake.
Yeah.
Even when we're resting. But first thing when I wake in the morning, I'm gonna just always say thank you. And maybe it's not a full-fledged prayer. Maybe I don't have the pure disposition to acknowledge my creator yet, but I'll always say thank you and at least try my best to recognize that I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'll go into an hour sit every single morning. I sit for an hour, and after that, I pray. And from there, I feel like I've positioned my feet in the soul, in the soil, you know, because everything grows from that still place. And if I haven't like created that stillness for myself first thing, then there's, you know, I'm gonna be chasing that for the rest of the day. And so that's just kind of what I meant in that line. Like, if I reap what I sow, then where I plant myself each day is ultimately how I'm going to grow.
Yeah.
Like one person planting, you know, pineapples. You don't plant pineapples, do you?
Yeah, you
It's
do.
the first fruit. Okay. You got to plant, right?
How else can
You
it?
plant a pineapple expecting strawberries.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
There's a certain level of delusion there. So I think
Yeah.
sometimes we wake, hop on Instagram, are anxious first thing in the morning and hope to try to find peace throughout
It's
the
like,
day.
everything you're doing is planting anxiousness.
Wherever you start is typically where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so in that,
How you
in that-
start, how you progress.
how you start is how you progress.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that is, you know, you have multiple opportunities to start. You can start again at any point.
Yeah.
And so that's just the line. Everything was working out the way it's supposed to. Then let me position myself to be able to receive it in the way that
Yeah.
I would like to receive it.
I love that.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's that.
All right, and then you can ask him whatever lyrics you want to.
Okay. What's your favorite? What when you wrote it and you recorded it, when you listened back to it the first time, what part of your verse were you just like, oh,
That's it. Let me say it. Take a deep breath and I pray.
okay.
Then I keep stepping in faith. Then I keep blessing my day.
Okay.
Like God is good. Okay.
Okay.
Take a deep breath and I pray. Even when stressing away, I know that heaven awaits. God is blessing away. Okay. I think that those stanzas really just, it's beginning to the end. It's beginning to the end. It's just coming back to the breath, coming back to that space of stillness. That is my prayer. You know, these days I don't have much time. I used to meditate for an hour and a half. I don't have that type of time being a father. And so I've learned to commune with God just through breath, you know, and receiving the breath of life and receiving the Holy Spirit in every breath. And knowing that is the intelligence that guides my intelligence. And that is the intelligence that guides all of intelligence is the Holy Spirit. And so taking that deep breath and I pray, then I keep stepping in faith. Then just go and just action, you know, because I can't just be still. I have to act. And so sometimes we reaching for the energy, but we have to just allow ourselves to surrender to the flow of the energy and to the inspiration. And so one inspiration leads to the next, to the next, to the next. And so then I keep blessing my day. You know, blessing my day is just gratitude. Like you said, gratitude. That's how you bless your day, with gratitude. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. If everywhere you go, you're giving thanks, you're blessing that. You know, you're appreciating that. You say, okay, acknowledging that's a flower, acknowledging that's a person, you know, acknowledging that's a cloud, acknowledging that whatever you see, giving reverence to it, you know, and then I bring it back to say, take a deep breath and I pray, even when stressing away. So even when I'm meeting moments that I can't give gratitude, I'm still coming back to the prayer, you know, coming back to the ceaseless prayer. You know, the scriptures do declare to pray without cease.
Yep.
And breath is the ceaseless prayer. Wow. And so it's always coming back to the breath, whatever situation it is, receiving the Holy Spirit, receiving the inspiration, meeting it head on, breathing through it, passing through it. I know that God is blessing away. Okay. I just be giving him thanks and giving him praises.
Yeah.
You know, I just be giving them thanks and giving them praises. And so that's the practice for me these days, is just giving thanks and giving gratitude, because everything works out. Yeah. You know, I can have these grand plans and schemes for my life, but, you know, they will be even bigger. And with every lesson comes a bigger test. with every blessing comes a bigger lesson. And so I just breathe through it and just navigate through it the best way that I can. Not the best way that I know how, because I don't need to know how. I just have to put it into action to go forward. And so that's my favorite lyric. That's the part. That's the part that really got me going, that really got me, reflecting. Like you said, like music is a powerful tool for us to self-reflect, because it doesn't come from us.
Right.
It really doesn't come from us.
Yeah.
We're so lucky and so grateful to be channels for the music that comes through us. And so the more we just open our heart to that experience of the music, the more we become a clear and pure channel for the music to really flow. But it's really studying the music as well and making the music a practice, because before you, I don't think, like, sometimes I don't embody what I speak until I actually practice and apply it, and then I become to embody it. And then so I think that's why, like, I let my music lead the way. I let music lead the way. I always follow the music into the next expression of myself, and to the next, really the next expression of myself. And so I'm always following the music, following the flow wherever the flow is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite part of your verse, and it's just probably a subtle one.
Yeah.
But when you say gratitude and salutations,
Yeah. Salute.
there's something about.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Nipsey, and why I love Nipsey Hussle. It's just because, although he was very pure in his reason,
Yeah.
he was not scared to protect.
Yeah.
It's like a certain,
Yeah.
like, I'm here to take a stand for
Yeah.
this.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Bring it at me. I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
And I think when said gratitude and salutation, I like the texture that it added to the moment, because it is take a deep breath and I praise all these very flowing, flowy regards. But then it stops at like, but hold on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're also part of this army.
Yeah.
And just as we respect the subtleties
Yeah.
and soft timber of our voices at times, there's also a time to say no.
Yeah.
And to stand firm and strong for what you believe. So I really love that, like, gratitude and say it's like, I love that part, man, and I really appreciate you. It felt like you were tapping into that energy.
Yeah, I do.
even.
I do dibble and dabble. I'm able to receive all the ancestors, past and future. So I'm able to really tap into the energies, and I'm so blessed to have the relationships and the connections that I have in this life to be able to connect with those who have transitioned to the other side. And so I'm grateful for the relationship that I have with the ancestors. I'm grateful for the channels that stay open, the channels that I'm able to tap into to give them new life and allow them to just use me as a vessel to continue their message as well. Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
What about you? Before we go, what's your favorite lyric of your part, or one that stands out to you right now in this moment?
First thing to come to my mind is, remember that love is available.
That's mine.
Every time you're feeling lower than low.
Yeah.
Tune into the channel you wish to acknowledge. Media bidding for your soul. But I'm too high to look down. Through the dark and the clouds, I know my light. And that's all my life.
That's all my life.
Yeah, because everything works out, So remember that love is available even though you're feeling lower than low.
That's my favorite lyric right there.
Thank you, man.
Remember that love is available even when you're feeling lower than low. It's like you have access to it at all times. Yeah, and that offers a moment to just really drop in. It really is. It's really a moment to just really drop in and receive. Yeah, the record itself is a masterpiece, man. It's a masterpiece. Even when it comes on, it sounds like some Beethoven.
And even as you listen to it now, there's something that most people don't hear. It's like doom, doom, doom. And we intentionally put in, like, when you turn on the lights, like click, click. We got a sound effect of a light on. It's like
lights on.
Exactly, lights on, and then that's when it drops in. So you'll hear it now. So I mean, anybody listening to it's like,
I love that intention.
Yeah,
I love that intention.
Yeah,
that's why records. I don't think records have been missing that, but in this age and time, there's just the intentionality of just the record. We're doing things behind the scene that maybe the people may not notice, but we know it's there. It's in the record.
They can feel it.
It's in the record. Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Oh man,
the meditation version has kids and birds in the background too. So
that goes well with the cover. Shout out to Sister Cody.
Shout out to
Sister Cody.
Yeah, the cover done by Sister Cody. It looks fire.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's so.
It's so the song.
Yes, I agree.
It is so the song.
And I'm hoping that we can make them shirts.
First person I showed, it was like, so which one is you and which one's Londrelle? And I'm like, I can tell who's who.
Right, I can tell. I know me. I know me.
Oh no, I'm me and Londrelle.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Is it obvious? But yeah, it's amazing, bro. Thank you again.
Yeah. He really did his thing.
Yeah.
And Christian had the idea, and I was totally
It
on
worked
board.
out.
Yeah, it worked out. It
The
worked
way
out.
it's supposed to.
Well, tell them the story, because that's crazy. Even how the cover art worked out.
Well, I think we were talking about the cover art. I think I had the idea of us being us like a physical picture, and then you came with the reference photo, and said we should do something like this. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, bet. I know
Yeah.
Cody. He was on my last
He
record.
knew the dude that
Yeah.
did the reference that I asked him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me call him.
Yeah, so I just like reached out to him. He was more than willing to do it, more than honored to do it for free. But of course, it's a business, and we take care of each other.
Yep.
And so he had it in like 2 days, and he made the adjustments and allowed us to use it without any like type of copyrights or anything just yet. But we're gonna make sure that everything is set so that he and his family can eat as we're eating as well, and he and his family can grow and reap the benefits of it as well. And so I'm just grateful for Cody for being the artistic genius that he is as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
incredible. Yes, truly organic and authentic.
When it's
expression.
when it's aligned, when it's real, when it's divine, it's
Yeah.
just like
You don't have to question it.
no,
You just go with the flow.
Go with the flow, and
Go with the flow.
it'll just grow.
Yeah,
Let's grow.
go with the flow and it will grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
What is way to grow? I love that saying, like way to grow.
Yeah,
Where does
where
that
did it
come from? Yeah.
It comes from camp.
Came from camp. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our very first. So we have Way to Grow,
Yeah.
which has developed into now Make Yourself Proud.
Okay.
So every season or so we'll have our
Yeah.
kind of like mantra or thing to hit home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was our first one.
Yeah. That's my jam.
Yeah,
That's my jam.
and it was like
Way
an
to grow.
accident one time we were playing the games. We were like,
Yeah.
Way to grow, way to
That's
grow,
right.
and we
Yeah.
It's
just
perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know if this part will come out, but when we're doing this again at the live, when there's so many more things to dive into.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I can't wait. I'm so proud of y'all. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part and putting this beautiful piece of art out into the world, so that we can continue to have just pure loving vibrations to play over and over, and to remember no matter where we are, high or low, love is accessible, that we can grow right where we are. Yeah.
Give thanks.
yeah, always.
Oh, it's
It's out now.
dropped.
It's out now.
streaming through the ethers right now.
boop, boop, boop. So go on
Yeah.
Spotify
Check it
right
out.
now. Let's run it up.
Spotify.
You know what I'm saying?
Apple Music.
Run it up. We're gonna play it again. I think on that note,
Beautiful words, bro.
I think at least for this part, we're gonna just close up with breath again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Close it up, and then let you guys just share where they can reach you. If you're watching, don't skip past this part. Close your eyes if you can. If you're in a safe space to do that, we're gonna just embrace being in the right here and the right now, being inspired. And like before, on the count of 3, we're gonna take a deep breath and hold, release and hold. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Hold. Release, release, release. And hold. Inhale. Relax, relax, relax. Be here, be still. Hold. And release. And hold. And on this breath, it's just a prayer of what is it that you're calling into your life. Breathe it in. Feel it all around you and within you. Hold. Keep holding. Breathe in some more if you can. And with a big sigh, let it all go. And hold at the bottom. And come back to your regular breath. Feel your fingers, wiggle your toes. move your neck around, be grateful for this functioning vehicle, this human body that we get to experience. This has been an absolutely exquisite and beautiful conversation. The song is called Everything Works Out. At least that's what I call it. Black people name it, whatever the chorus is. And it's streaming on all platforms. Use it. It's more than just a quick listen. It is something to experience and to live. Christian Ahmed, Londrelle. It's a song 5 years in the making. That's releasing now, and we pray it's a blessing to your soul. Anything you want to say to the people before we...
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And I appreciate it.
Thank you for holding space for us, a safe and brave one.
Yeah.
Thank you to Londrelle. Thank you for doing the work. To both of y'all, thank you. Y'all inspire me more than you know.
Give thanks. Give thanks.
And I'm gonna break the frame, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for facilitating this and recording us as well. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. And where can people find y'all?
You can find me on Instagram, all social media platforms, Christian Ahmed _. Y'all can also follow the co-founder of this thing called Connected Camping. It's a 24-hour wellness experience meant to bring people together in a deep and meaningful way. So you can follow Connected Camping. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, all Christian Ahmed. Yeah.
Give thanks. Just want to give thanks for you for once again holding space, holding a safe container, being the example that you are, being the resurrected one that you are, being the light that you are. And just shining your light and being a leader in our space and to bring us all together, to be the glue that holds us together as well. And I thank you for accepting that assignment to hold us together, to hold the community together, to hold whoever you hold together, holding space, being the glue, being the connector that makes the connections and make sure the connections are fluid. So I give thanks to you, brother. Thank you for, just your curiosity. One thing I admire about you more than anything is your curiosity. And that's why I always like connecting with whatever you got going on. I'm there because I know it comes from a space of curiosity, something that I want to rub off on me because it's so admirable. It's so remarkable to be just curious in that way, to go deeper and to be, interested in other people besides yourself. And so I do appreciate your genuineness and your simplicity and just all that you are, and for trusting me to be a part of your legacy. I think I told you the first time. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your legacy and a part of your story, to be interwoven into your story, into your life, into all that you are destined to be. So I give thanks. I bow to the light in you, the love in you, the creative genius in you, and just looking forward to more creative endeavors together. And you can find me wherever the love is. You can find me wherever the love is. I'm there. Although I am aloof, I'm not on the scene a lot, but I'm wherever the love is. And so my Instagram is Londrelle. My ex is Londrelle. My whole life is Londrelle. And so wherever you're looking for me, you can just type it in and I may pop up somewhere. And so, I'll be there.
Big stepping on this side.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Respect.
And with that, we out.
Wow. Way to grow.
Way to grow.
Way to grow.
Here we go.
Give thanks.
Everything works out the way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to.